Alright, everybody, what's up? It's Big Hot Rod and L Train coming at y'all. Man, it's the T Train show. Y'all know what time it is, man. What up, T? What up? Hot Rod, what up? L Train, y'all know what time it is, man. It's the Three the Hard Way. Three the Hard Way. Cleveland's finest, y'all. The biggest and the baddest sports show. In Cleveland and beyond, we gon' bring it to you every week. The hottest sports show. The baddest
Welcome to another edition of Three the Hard Way. Cleveland Browns fans, are you still waiting on Arch Manning? We gonna get into that when the show starts, brother. We about to get into this, but first, I got to introduce my guys. As always, first up, we should start calling him the quarterback whisperer because of his breakdown analysis last week of Shedeur Sanders. It almost shut down our community page with all the positive feedback. Mr. Hot Rod, Rodney Young. What's up, Hot Rod?
What's going on, Three the Hard Way Nation here on the YouTube channel? What's going on, Three the Hard Way Nation on the TikTok? Y'all know who I am. I'm your friendly neighborhood coach, and as I always say, you may not like what I'm saying, but you will listen.
And you see what he's got on top of his head today. The captain is joining us once again, Mr. Terrence Austin T. What's up?
What's happening? I'm rocking my Ohio State Buckeye cap with my autographed signature of the one, Bradley D. Sellers. Signed this for me some years ago, so I broke it out. What's happening, Three the Hard Way Nation, TikTok world? What's going on? Let's get this show on the road. Let's get it going.
Well, hey, man, listen, let's get into this. I was a little nervous about the game yesterday. I guess we got to start with the big game yesterday. Ohio State versus Texas, Big Ten versus SEC. Two young and up-and-coming quarterbacks, Arch Manning and my guy, Julian Sang. A lot of things come out of this game. Obviously, we're happy that the Ohio State Buckeyes were able to pull it off. 14-7 victory, outstanding defensive showing by the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think that was a question mark going into the game. When you have the amount of Buckeyes that go into the NFL, there's going to be a lot of turnovers. There's going to be a lot of question marks. Playing the number one team in the country, a lot of those, even though it's the first game, fellas, a lot of those questions were kind of answered yesterday in terms of, will the turnover that the Ohio State Buckeyes had hamper them from being able to compete with some of the best teams in the country? Absolutely not. I am interested in getting your thoughts on the game. What was Arch Manning too overhyped? What are your thoughts on Julian Sands? So let's get into all this. Hot Rod, I don't know, T, I'll start with you, then we'll go to Hot Rod.
Let me go first because I'm going to piggyback off of what you said. You know, the number of guys that enter the NFL and leave the team every year. You got to give Matt Patricia credit, okay? Because he lost a lot of players to the NFL for having that defense ready, okay? And he basically, how would I put it? His expertise of the NFL, his knowledge of the game showed up because, the young boy Manning, he didn't know what to do. He was disheveled, how would I put it? The entire first half. His throwing motion was off, his feet was off, his how would I put it? Handling of the offense was off. He just wasn't there, okay? And that was great play, great credit to our defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, okay? Both teams have outstanding defenses, okay? Both teams. However, ours showed up, and give our defense credit for, pulling this game out, which, how would I put it? I think we had a hold on it from the jump. There was no time during that game, and I watched the whole game, was I in fear of, Texas coming back and tying it up and then forcing overtime and, possibly winning the game. So there was no fear of that. Our defense, had their foot on their neck the entire time.
The whole game.
The whole game. So give the Buckeye coaching staff nothing but credit there. So that's where I'll start there, and I'll let Rod go in, pivot into, the quarterback play on both sides. But our defense is outstanding.
So for me,
okay.
Yeah, we
Go ahead,
you
Elton,
know,
yeah.
yeah, when you look at Ohio State, I think a lot of people are going to jump on Arch Manning right away. And I'm not here to defend Arch Manning because I agree with you. I agree with you, man. The defense of the Ohio State Buckeyes was just absolutely fantastic. But I think that's part of the reason why Arch Manning played so bad. You're talking about on the defensive side of the ball, Matt Patricia and Ohio State Buckeyes. Matt Patricia has 3 Super Bowl rings and was arguably the defensive coordinator for the GOAT of pro football. So I think that has a lot to do with Arch Manning's performance. I think a lot of people forget about that. And then when you look on the side of Julian Sang was 3 for 20, had 1 touchdown. And I think part of that was, think about this. Julian Sang was 3 for 20, but he had 3 drops early in that game.
Yeah.
2 from Jeremiah Smith and the
Right.
one
That should have been caught.
tight
That
end
should have been caught.
should have been caught. So his numbers should have been actually better in terms of what he even showed yesterday. I thought the game plan that Brian Hartline developed for the Ohio State Buckeyes on the offensive end was a little conservative, but I understood this was a big game for a quarterback that had never played or started a
Right.
game of that
Right.
caliber. So I think that they were protecting him a little bit more with the more conservative type play calling. And I think that attributed to Ohio State's offense being a little sluggish at times. But overall, man,
Right.
I thought it was a great game by the Buckeyes.
Right. And again, I think both coaches were being very conservative, with their quarterbacks, okay? Not trying to force too many things, not trying to give them too much, trying to, run first and then set up the pass. Now, for our Buckeyes, I'm a little concerned about the running game, but, I'm not going to, count them out because, again, that was just game 1 of the season, okay? Just game 1. The next couple of games, with the opponents that we have, coming ahead, I think they'll be able to work on the running game. But again, I think both coaches were very conservative, on both sides with their young quarterbacks. Both coaches were not trying to give them too much. Now, I was listening to CBS Sports this morning. The coach for Texas, there is a concern of him being a little too conservative going forward with Arch Manning, and if that's going to be a good fit, okay, for Arch going forward. Yeah. So that's a concern of a lot of folks that I heard this morning on the national level. Is Arch Manning a good fit for this guy's offense? And that, time will tell. But like Grandpa say, hey, he's not coming out at the end of the year, so he's got a couple years to figure it out to, make things happen. So that's the concern going forward is that coach a little too conservative for Arch. Go ahead, Rob.
All right, real quick. I'm sorry, guys. Had a little technical difficulty. But look, I was more impressed with Julian Sang because he controlled the Buckeye offense. We
were just saying, Rod, when you blacked out, he had 3 drops early in that game.
He could have easily
well.
That should not have been.
He could have easily went 19 for 20. Okay, 2 of those drops was by Jeremiah Smith, which was unheard of. But he was 16 for 20, I believe. 16 for 20. Yardage wasn't all that, but he threw. He had a touchdown. Once again, what T was saying was Matt Patricia is a Belichick guy. And so what does Bill Belichick do? Bill Belichick takes away your strength. And so what did he do? He took away Arch Manning's strength. He played cover 3, cover 4. He dropped in the middle. There was nowhere for him to go. All he kept doing, if you watch the game, is that he kept throwing to the running back out of the backfield. That's a release valve. That's all he had. Okay, Arch was flustered in the first half of the game. Now, second half, they went up tempo. And that's how they were able to move the ball on the Buckeyes, is because they got into an up tempo, kind of a no huddle type of offense. All right. But at that point, the defense was just so stellar. There was not really much Arch could do. He was pretty done with that. There was, and I'm not saying that Arch Manning won't be a good quarterback. He's going to come back. He's going to learn from this. It's too much NFL knowledge in his family for him not to figure it out.
Yeah.
But Matt Patricia threw things at him that he had never, ever seen. And it confused him, even to a point where he threw an interception. That was a force. He wanted to go downfield so bad, he forced it. Okay. So Buckeye defense was stellar. Offense was efficient. There were no turnovers. None.
Right.
And I think they had 2 penalties the entire game. It was a clean
Very
game.
minimal penalties.
Okay.
Very minimal.
So I still think it was disrespectful to even put the Longhorns as the number 1 team in the country when you have the defending national champions. I thought it was just disrespectful. And so I'm glad that the Buckeyes came back. I'm glad that they won that game. I did call it. I said it wasn't going to be a high-scoring game. I said it was going to be close. Okay, 14-7 is pretty close. All right, but if you look at it, Texas defense isn't bad either. Okay, Texas has a real good defense as well. But the Buckeyes, they at home, and they showed why they should be the number 1 team in the country. But give all kudos to Matt Patricia. He schemed.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
He schemed Arch Manning out of that game. He schemed him out of the game.
Sure did.
Okay. And also, real quick with Sarkisian, I question some of his calls as the Texas coach. Okay. They were inside the 1-yard line. They got stopped. They went for it on 4th down.
Right. Okay.
But then they were down there before. You got to kick the field goal, get points. Because if you kick the field goal, now you're looking at a 14-10 football game. Okay?
Right.
So he took some risk and he lost. Buckeyes still have the top defense in the country on the goal line. Okay? And so I just question some of Sarkisian's some of his calls, but no, Arch got schemed out that game. He got schemed out.
Yeah. And again, as I was saying, Rod, while you were out L-Train, and I was saying, Sarkisian, the word is already out. Is he too conservative, going forward with that kid? Is he the right fit for that kid? And I'm sure, his football family is sitting back watching, and they may have that concern too. Again, he's just a little too careful. And will that really, really fit for Arch going forward? But as L-Train said in the introduction, after yesterday's game, I don't want to hear no more about, hey, he's going to be, the number 1 quarterback coming out. He's going to be the Heisman Trophy winner, this and that. Based on what I saw yesterday, and not to beat the kid up, but what I saw yesterday wasn't much of anything, okay? So we can move on from that, and the Browns aren't going to need him anyway next year, because with our 2 picks, we're going to pick elsewhere, because we're already going to have our quarterback. We already got our quarterback in-house, and he's the 3rd string right now on our roster, and I'll leave it at that. He's the 3rd string.
I wish, T, I could believe that, but seeing that Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam was at that game, I can't dismiss it. I can't. They have an affection for Arch Manning, and rightfully so. I mean, the kid, like I said, he's going to end up being a really, really good quarterback. But, and I'm sure we'll talk about this a little later, but where is your focus? You have a season that you're getting ready to start with a 40-year-old quarterback and a rookie and 2 rookies behind him. And you too busy out here scouting someone that you may not ever get. I don't understand it, but I digress. We move on.
Yeah, gotcha.
Maybe it was just a big game, Hot Rod T. Maybe they just wanted to come down to Columbus, watch the big game. Maybe, it didn't have anything to do with Arch Manning or them wanting to draft him.
Maybe that ain't true.
Or they were in town to watch the AAA affiliate for the Guardians. They were in town to watch the AAA affiliate with the Guardians.
You guys are reaching now.
In Columbus,
Yeah, that
listen,
no.
When you look at this game, man, it's hard to plant your flag in the ground in terms of what these teams are going to be like towards the later end of the season and how people are going to play. Like, I looked at Arch Manning, and he was so overhyped coming into this game without a whole lot of resume that I was kind of perplexed by that anyway. And he's going up against a 3-time Super Bowl champ in Matt Patricia, who can coach his ass off. Matt Patricia, he is, when you hear people say, well, it's not rocket science, well, for Matt Patricia, it is, because he is a rocket scientist. I mean, this dude is smart. He's a Belichick disciple, and he can coach. In terms of the Ohio State running game, I think it's hard to evaluate that off this game because Texas brings one of the best fronts in college football. And you have to be able to perform against that. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like Ohio State's running game was shut down. Could it have been better?
Right.
Absolutely. But they had some effective runs when they needed to have some effective runs. I think they have to find a way to incorporate every game Jeremiah Smith, man. They've got to find a way. And I think when I give it the eye test, Texas and Ohio State, I think both coaches called a very conservative game to protect their quarterbacks. I think they didn't want Arch Manning to look bad, so they really didn't put him into situations until they went up tempo where he had to throw the football a lot. And then Ryan Day said after the game, we could have called a more fluid game for Julian Sang. And we should have taken the leash off of him because they felt like after the game that he probably could have handled it.
Yeah.
So that leads me to believe that Brian Hartline and the boys were like, okay, we got to have this guy be a game manager. We're not going to put him in a situation where he can make mistakes earlier. I think when they get to that point, when Julian Sang, that's when this offense is going to really explode. But I liked his efficiency. I liked the play calling for the most part for the majority of the game. I was really happy with the defense. Matt Patricia showed who he is. And I said it up front when Jim Knowles left for Penn State. Matt Patricia is an upgrade.
Right.
He's an upgrade from Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles had roller coaster rides with the Ohio State Buckeyes. There were times, guys, if you remember, their defense didn't show up for some games when he was the defensive coordinator. I don't think you're going to see that type of roller coaster ride from Matt Patricia. So I definitely think he's an upgrade from Jim
And there
Knowles.
was a lot of concerns, L Train, when they moved on from Knowles and brought in Patricia at first, during the offseason. There was a lot of people that didn't like that move, okay? But I bet after what they saw yesterday, they like the move now.
Yeah.
After what they saw yesterday, they're okay with it. Because I'm okay with it.
I
I'm
literally
okay with
sat up and I watched it, and I watched Arch his first couple of throws, and I literally said,
Way off.
He's off. I said, Matt,
Way
and then I
off.
looked at, they showed the overhead of a couple of plays, and I'm like, okay, he's going cover 3, cover 4. He's taking away everything but the flats, which is where he kept throwing the ball to the running back. He's taking all that away. So when Arch, and I think he might have mixed certain coverages, because when Arch came to the line of scrimmage, he saw one thing pre-snap, but then when the ball was snapped, he saw something else. And he had issues processing that quickly, okay? Because that front 4 was still coming. They only blitzed Arch Manning twice that I could remember. They only blitzed him twice. They played coverage the entire game, and that is a Belichick way. He said, basically, Matt Patricia said, if you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us with your run game. And they couldn't. He knew they couldn't. He said, Arch is not going to stand back here and just pick us apart. We're not having that. So it was really smart, and I can see that coming for the rest of the season, is Matt Patricia is going to scheme this defense, and it's going to be a problem in the Big Ten, period.
Yeah. And I would say our next tough task will be Penn State, and then of course, Michigan, those boys up north. So but I like what, Coach Patricia did yesterday. So hey, going forward, we can run the tables. I wouldn't be surprised if the Buckeyes run the table. I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
I leave Arch Manning fans with this, and people that may want him on the Cleveland Browns football team next year. Here's a stat that jumped out at me about Arch Manning. He had a 36% off-target rate in yesterday's game. So 36%. So that is the worst percentage of any Texas quarterback in the last decade against a professional level defensive coordinator. That doesn't translate well to the NFL. And again, I'm like Hot Rod. I'm not saying that he's not going to be a stellar quarterback, but the optics were not good yesterday against the Ohio State Buckeyes, man. Not good against the Ohio State Buckeyes.
There you go. Okay.
Man, a lot of big games yesterday. It wasn't just Ohio State and the Texas Longhorns, man. A lot of big games. LSU and Clemson. Did you guys get a chance to watch that game?
I watched
I
that
watched a
whole
little bit of
game,
that
and that
game,
was
yeah.
something, I tell you. Yeah, and LSU, I guess, this was the first time in 3 seasons that they didn't lose their opening game.
Yes,
you
they
know?
needed it.
Yeah, they needed that, and they got it too, and they almost got robbed of it. Okay, playing down there in Death Valley and northern South Carolina, they almost got robbed, but they held on. Man, it was a physical team. I tell
Yep.
you, SEC football, Big Ten football. I tell you, it doesn't get any better than that. Pretty soon, it's just going to be the East versus the West. It's just going to be 2 conferences. It's going to be the SEC and then us in the Big Ten. Kind of like the AFC, NFC. But yeah, that was a banger. Last night it was worth all the money, all the cards. And I tell you, I am excited because college football is back. It is here. It's back. So there you go.
Yeah, well,
Yep, that was a heck of a game.
SEC football is physical,
SEC
fast.
football, yeah.
All right, it's
Fast.
competitive, and that game yesterday was competitive. I mean,
Yes.
I watched
Sure was.
I watched that just transpire, and it was one of those where I became a football fan again. Where I sat back and I wasn't looking at X's and O's. I was just looking at, okay,
Just
these
watching the
dudes
game.
is out here scrapping. That's what they doing. They out here, they trying to knock
That's
each
what they
other's
doing.
heads off. So I was really impressed by both squads, and then LSU got the dub, but it wasn't easy at all. It was not
No, it wasn't
easy
easy.
at all.
Hey,
Wasn't easy.
Hey, Hot Rod, knowing that you retired from coaching, was yesterday the type of Saturdays that gets your juices flowing again to get back out there as a football coach?
Absolutely. Just
I bet.
watching the schemes, watching how things transpire. Like I said, I watched it as a football fan. But yeah, that inner coach came out of me where I'm like, okay, I could scheme this up. Oh, why did the defensive end do this? And why the tackle do? Yeah, it happens. You know what I mean? And so I do miss it. But that turned me back into an original football fan. It was smash mouth
Sure.
SEC football.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Michigan cruised yesterday with their true freshman quarterback. You guys get a chance to watch that team up north?
I didn't see any of that.
I watched a bit of it. He's very brash. He is confident in himself. He came out and he made a statement. He said, "You will see me do things that no other freshman has ever done." And
That's what he said.
And I just wanted to remind him, there's a guy up there in Columbus that set some records as a wide receiver his freshman year. So contraire move frere, slow down a little bit. He's going to be a great quarterback. He really is. He's an athlete. Yeah, cool your jets, kid. You're all right. You're all right. But they played, I believe I think it was Marshall. They played, and of course, and I can't say that the Buckeyes don't do it.
No, that was Georgia that played Marshall.
Georgia played Marshall.
No, they played New Mexico State. They played New Mexico.
Yeah, so New Mexico
right.
State hung in for a minute, but they had a couple costly errors that the Wolverines took advantage of. They got a really good running back. He's a transfer, and really good. I mean, this dude. Listen, y'all know how I feel about the team up north, but I give credit to where credit is due. They have a good running back in the backfield, but we'll see how it transpires in the Big Ten. We'll see, can they deal with the Penn States? Can they deal with the Buckeyes? Okay, we'll see. But yeah, I watched a little bit of it. It was a pretty good game. So they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, they were supposed to
You know
win
what
that.
team impressed me over the weekend? I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch this team specifically, but Florida State, man. Florida State has speed everywhere on offense. It's like they just got a bunch of guys from the track team and say, hey, we're just going to give you the ball in space and you guys just do your thing. Their quarterback is a little guy, but man, is he dynamic. I would love to see what his 40-yard dash is, because he can throw it a little bit, but he's way more effective as a runner.
Yeah, they look like those old teams that Bobby Bowden used to put on the field, okay?
Yeah.
That's just what they look like, and it's good to see that Seminole football is back, okay? And the majority of those athletes are from right there in Florida, okay? They're a squad that, competes against, Miami competes against Florida. They were able to, grab a lot of those great athletes coming out of Florida. And again, Seminole football is back. Yeah, Alabama, they're just I tell you, their fans are hiding under their desk. They're hiding under their desk. They are not the Bama that they used to be, and Nick Saban ain't walking through that door. He ain't walking through that door, so they're gonna have to do something. But yeah, I just saw highlights of that game, and yeah, Florida State seems to be back, man. They're back.
Florida State played a good game, but let's talk about the fall of the Alabama Crimson Tide. That's
yes, sir. Let's get to that.
That is shocking. They
not a good
they
look.
do not look well at all. At all. They do not look like a good football team at all. And as T is saying, yeah, Nick Saban ain't walking through there. Bear Bryant's not coming out of the grave and saved them. It's just not happening. And now I think because of the parity, everybody's not enamored in going to Alabama now because there's so many different teams
now with
out here.
NIL. Now with NIL.
Now with that
there,
NIL money. They're not where Alabama was. It was the blue blood. When you went to Alabama, you was the top 1%. You don't see that now. You don't see that in Alabama, and it showed yesterday. They did not look good at all.
No, it didn't.
Well, it showed a long time before that, because before Nick Saban got out of there, he was very critical of all these schools and the NIL money, and he was trying to get his boosters to pony up. And then he got out of Dodge because I think he saw exactly what Hot Rod is saying about what's going on down in Alabama.
He was no longer going to dominate.
He was no longer going to dominate. So he got out of Dodge, and now Kalen DeBoer is going to have to pick up the pieces, or try to pick up the pieces, in terms of following a legend, man. That's going to be a tough job for him. It's going to be a really, really tough job. The Colorado Buffaloes suffered a loss. Deion's first game of the season. Did you guys have an opportunity to catch a little bit of that?
Didn't see that, but was Prime on the field? Was he there?
Yeah,
was
Prime
he
was on the field.
He was on the field. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I looked at a little bit of it. You can tell that they lost some players that they had last year that, of course, their quarterback's pretty decent, but he's not Shador. They missed Shiloh back there at the defense. As a defensive back, they really missed Shiloh. Shiloh actually covered up a lot of sins that were back there last year. So now him not being there, now you're asking for some other dudes to step up. The defense as a whole does not look good, and I'm surprised because you got Warren Sapp as your defensive line coach, and your defensive line it looks like a sieve. It's not looking good at all. But I always have the ultimate confidence in Prime that he will fix it, that he will get it together. Prime handles it all the same way. He knows that he has to fix things. And one thing about Prime that people don't know, if he believes that it's not a player thing, he will let coaches go. He has no problem in doing that. So I mean, we'll see if they can bounce back. Kind of, I think the way that college football is now, like even with the Buckeyes and the Longhorns, whoever would have lost that game, it's not the end of the season. To where years ago, you lose that game, you lose your first game, you're in trouble.
You're out of it.
Okay, you lose
not the
two,
case anymore.
You can forget it.
Right.
But now, because of the way the playoff system is, you have a lot of time to right the ship and possibly sneak your way back into the playoff. So it's a little bit different now. That's why, and this is another topic. I had this conversation with my brother some time back. Now that everything has changed, does the Ohio State-Michigan game mean that much like it did in the back in the day?
Not as much as it.
You know what I mean?
No, not as much as it did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I asked that. Go ahead, T.
Yeah, it doesn't mean as much. Yes, it's been diminished a little bit, but don't tell us that in Columbus or in the state of Ohio, and don't tell them that in Michigan, because in those two places, it still means everything. Maybe nationwide, it's not as big. Yeah, it's not as big. But in our state and, them guys up north, it still means everything.
Because the only reason I say that is because of what happened last year. The Wolverines, they beat the Buckeyes, but then the Buckeyes win a national championship. So then you ask that question, okay, You lost to the team up north, but you won the national championship. Does this game matter? Now, of course, me and my brother got heated because my brother made it. He let it be known because he's a Michigan fan. Like, oh, no. You can't walk away from that. You still took the L.
Right.
I said, but I'll take the L if I win the national championship.
Yeah, championship.
Where back in the day, when we took a L with that team up north, the season was over. That was it. That was for the opportunity to go to the national championship. So I'd be curious. We throw it out here to 3 the Hard Way Nation, all our Buckeye fans and all our team up north fans. Does this game matter now that the playoffs have changed? Does it still hold weight with Buckeye Nation and even with the team up north? Yes or no? I'd be curious to hear somebody's response.
Yeah, see what they say. Because to me, it matters. To me, it does.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is you can conceivably one year have that Ohio State-Michigan Wolverines game one week, and then the following week for the Big Ten championship, you could have that same game in the Big Ten championship, depending on how they finish in the standings. I will say this, Rod, I think you made a good point in terms of you can now, because of the college football playoffs, lose games early and maybe even a couple games. Like the Ohio State Buckeyes lost 2 games last year to Oregon and Michigan. They made that run to the national title. So you could actually stub your toe and still have a chance to win a natty and get to the college football playoffs.
Right.
Here's my only pushback for this. See, I think the loss yesterday wouldn't have affected Ohio State as much as it's going to affect Texas. Texas has to go through that gauntlet in the SEC.
Yeah.
They have got to go. I just don't see them losing any more games in the SEC and then going to the SEC championship game and not losing any games. I think this Ohio State loss yesterday to Texas losing to Ohio State, I think that puts an extra loss on their schedule that they don't want. Because I think they're going to get beat at least twice in the SEC. That's 3 losses right there.
Yeah.
That directly affects them being able to be a high seed in the playoffs, if not even make the college football playoffs, man. Because that SEC is not going to be it's not a joke this year.
It's not a joke.
For sure.
It's not a joke.
We didn't get a chance to talk about this last week. We're going to flip to the NFL a little bit. We had a great breakdown by Hot Rod last week about what he saw. Got rave reviews online about his analysis. So we definitely appreciate that. But after his analysis, we were talking about them keeping the 4 quarterbacks. Guess who gets traded? I know Hot Rod was a little disappointed in this one.
Stop it.
Kenny Pickett gets traded to the Raiders. Raiders needed a quarterback. They go out and get Kenny Pickett. Fellas, give me your thought on the whole Kenny Pickett trade.
Tell us how you feel about that, Rod.
So I said that the Browns would keep all 4 quarterbacks. I said that, okay, which by the signing of Bailey Zappi, they do have 4 quarterbacks. But I also said I didn't understand the love affair with Kenny Pickett. I didn't understand it.
I didn't either.
For a guy who got hurt, never played a single down, I didn't understand the love affair with him. So when the Browns traded him for the 5th round pick, basically, that they gave up to Philadelphia, I wasn't upset about it. I don't think the Browns wanted to trade Kenny Pickett. I just don't think that they could have maneuvered this to where the Browns fans would have accepted Kenny Pickett. I'm sure they sat in their war rooms and talked about it, but there was no way they were going to get Kenny Pickett over with this fan base. It just wasn't going to happen. So they needed to have.
Well, let me say.
Go ahead, T.
Yeah. Let me say this before you go further. I think there was high hopes with Kenny Pickett. Okay.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that he played all 4 years at Pitt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he there for all 4 years,
Mhm.
3 or 4 years? And then, he had some experience, with the Eagles and the Steelers. So I think they had hopes just based on, how would I put it, the experience that he had, the experience that he brought. So I think they were just hoping for the best with him.
Yeah,
okay.
and
Because when we first got him, I kind of said, okay, maybe this might work because Deshaun Watson,
Mhm.
was thumbs down.
Mhm.
And then, we didn't know whether we were going to get Flacco back or not. So even I had high hopes early on when they brought him in, just based on his experience and the fact that, maybe he can get better. Everybody's talking about how little his hands were. Hey, I thought maybe he would be good. So I think it was just the fascination of what he possibly could have
And
brought,
I
I
look at
think.
it like this: hope is the first stage to disappointment. I mean, I hope to win the Powerball, but my ticket didn't hit. Okay,
I'm still going to work
you
in the
know what I'm
morning. Yeah,
saying? I
yeah. I
still
hope to
got to
win too,
go
but
to
I'm still
work.
going to work.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
So,
still going to work.
when the Browns got him, I was skeptical. I was still skeptical. Because number one, like I said, Mike Tomlin let him go. I'm not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Everybody knows that. But I am a Mike Tomlin fan. Mike Tomlin let him go. They wanted to blame the offensive coordinator, but Kenny Pickett was the one throwing the passes. So he got let go. And this was a backyard guy. Like you said, he played at Pitt all 4 years. And then he went to the Steelers. He couldn't hack it with the Steelers. So then they send him to Philadelphia. He plays behind Jalen Hurts. Okay. Got some good intel, got him a Super Bowl ring. I think that was the hope, that they thought that he could resurrect his career in Cleveland, because they weren't going to
Because it was kind
bring
of my hope. It was kind
yeah,
of my
they
hope.
weren't going to bring Joe Flacco back originally. They were not going to do that because they did not want to cause any issues in the locker room, and because Joe Flacco was a team favorite. They didn't want that. They wanted, at the time, it was Deshaun. They wanted Deshaun. They wanted to protect Deshaun's psyche. So then when Kenny Pickett comes in, they wanted Kenny Pickett to win that job. They really did. They were going to basically give him that job. But he got hurt. He got hurt. Joe knew the offense. Joe ran the offense. And then that boy Gabriel, they looked at him. They said he was better than Kenny Pickett. So he was easily traded to the Raiders. Okay. Now my thing is, that's the Browns saying that they made a mistake. That is. Because you didn't get a 4th round back for him. You didn't get a 3rd round. You got the same 5th round that you traded. Okay. So once again, here is our lovable but inept organization. Still can't figure it out. They still can't figure it out. So,
Yeah, and the crazy thing, Rod, how it may turn out, him, going to the Raiders, and if something happens to their starter and him come in, he just might look pretty good in how would I put it? He may look the part that what I wish he would have
Yeah.
possibly looked like with us. I'm afraid of that happening, and it wouldn't surprise me if that does happen. Yep, wouldn't surprise me.
There was another trade up here in my parts. The people in Wisconsin are already calling Super Bowl. They got their linebacker, pass rusher, edge rusher, whatever you want to call him, Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Got shipped from the
Yep.
Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers up here, which I think on the surface, it's a good trade. I had a debate with one of my closest friends. He's a big-time Green Bay Packer fan, and he is already penciling them in for the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl,
And
right.
I look at it like this. What the Packers are trying to do is not the formula that usually wins a Super Bowl. But I don't blame them for making the trade. But I think it's got to hit, fellas, in the next couple of years. They either got to win that thing this year with Micah Parsons, or they got to win it next year, or they will become so financially strapped. I mean, they just signed him to a $188 million contract. And then just a year ago, they signed Jordan Love to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
Then you brought in Josh Jacobs. I mean, they're spending money hand over fist, and I don't think it's a for sure thing that they're even the best team in the division. You can make an argument for the Vikings. You can make an argument still for the Detroit Lions. I mean, they better be right on this thing. But I do think that the Green Bay Packers team is a better team today than it was before the Micah Parsons trade.
L Train, like I said in the pregame show, those Packer fans, those Cheesehead fans, they said, hey, we got Reggie White, Super Bowl. We got Charles Woodson, Super Bowl. Now we got Micah Parsons. hey, we expect the same thing out of them. Now, Dallas is not a better team today. They're not by,
No.
letting him go. They're not a better team. Green Bay, with all that the young talent that they have, they're right there in you all's division, which I think is the best division in football. So strap it up and let's see what happens. Micah Parsons, I really think he really wanted to be a Cowboy. I really do, but things got messy, things got ugly. Name calling, not letting his agent handle it.
Yep.
Jerry
Yep.
Jones being Jerry Jones. Hey, I'm a billionaire. I got the most successful franchise in all the sports. I'm more valuable than the Yankees. I'm more valuable than the Lakers, Manchester United, the Celtics. So I'm going to do it my way. So at the end of the day, they're not a better team, but those fans in Green Bay, hey, they've seen this story before, this movie before, and they think the same outcome, with Micah Parsons on the team. And I think Micah Parsons really is going to show out. I really see him really, helping that team out, and they're in the mention now. They're in the mention.
So let's look at the pros and cons of this. Pro, the Green Bay Packers get a all-pro generational talent in Micah Parsons. Okay, you still have Jordan Love. You have that opportunity to be very good. Here's the con. You traded away a quality defensive tackle and a couple first-round picks, okay, for Micah Parsons. So like L Train is saying, it's got to hit
The window is open now.
immediately.
Gotta hit
That
now.
means the Packers are saying we're trying to
Starting this
win
season.
now. For the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry got a couple first-round picks, a quality defensive tackle. Those first-round picks, and he said it in his press conference, I could use them right now. But one of the things that I heard, because I'm not going to take credit for that, is he eliminated a lot of cap space without paying Micah Parsons. Now he's got some cap space because you already had Pickens that he's going to eventually have to pay, which, by the way, George Pickens has the same agent as Micah Parsons. So get ready for that. You got CeeDee Lamb under contract. Okay, you got Dak, who's making that kind of money. Jerry has the money.
2 big contracts,
Exactly.
Rod. 2 big contracts.
Exactly. So now Jerry is playing the money game. All right. Now, for me, when you trade him within the division, what is that saying? That's saying you don't think he can come back and hurt you. Because I would have traded him to Siberia. Okay. He wasn't,
right.
but you traded him. Not only you traded him in your division, you're saying Micah Parsons is not a threat. To me, that's what you're saying. And so I'd be interested. I will be tuning in when the Packers play the Cowboys. That will be very interesting. Must-see TV.
Must-see TV.
But does Micah Parsons catapult them to the Super Bowl? No, it doesn't. Okay, because just like when T is saying, yeah, they had Reggie White. Yeah, they also had Sean Gilbert. They had Brett Favre. Okay, they had a plethora of talent.
Players, yeah.
The Packers they're young, and I'm not, no disrespect whatsoever, but and I might be crazy, I don't see where the Micah Parsons trade has tipped the scales to where you're going to say the Green Bay Packers are the perennial lock for the NFC Championship. I just don't see it.
I don't see it either.
No. They're better, but no, they're not. They're not a lock. They're not a lock. They're not a lock.
When you guys look at the NFL season coming up, obviously there are some teams that are more highly touted than other teams. And there's always that one team that nobody talks about, that don't think they're going to be very good, that ends up having a pretty good season. Give me, if you can pick a team that you feel like is just being overstated or overrated out there, and then give me a team that you feel like everybody should be watching out there that maybe nobody's talking about.
Well, let me go first.
Mhm.
I've said a couple in the past, but another one has emerged this week, and that's the New York Giants. Okay,
Yeah.
based on their defense, their front seven, how ferocious they are, and then also too, Jackson Dart didn't look bad in the preseason. He didn't look bad in the preseason. Now, again, I know that's Russell Wilson's job, but Jackson Dart is right there waiting. And then I was kind of looking at the Giants' schedule outside of their division. It's not too tough, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them kind of emerge, over my commanders, as Rod calls them, over my commanders. But yeah, the Giants, don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on the Giants.
For me, the team that I would not sleep on, that I'm paying attention to, believe it or not, is actually the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I knew that was gonna be answered. I knew. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
You've been consistent with
as
that.
much
You've been
as much
consistent with
as
that.
I
Yeah,
as
you've been
much as I
consistent.
talk trash on the Steelers, and I will continue to talk trash on the Steelers, I'm objective when it comes to football. If Aaron Rodgers gives them 70 to 80% of Aaron Rodgers, they're going to be dangerous in the
They
AFC.
might win the division.
They're going to be dangerous
They might win our division.
because they always have a pretty good defense. Now, I'm not the underrated one, with the one that I think is too hyped up, is the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm gonna stay in our division. I think the Cincinnati Bengals has too much hype. Don't get me wrong, love Joe Burrow, okay, Chase, those guys, but I'm not sold on Cincinnati. Okay, Pittsburgh's gonna be decent. Okay, Pittsburgh's gonna be pretty decent.
Better than decent.
Yeah, and of course, I told y'all I think the Browns can win 10 games, so I wouldn't sleep on them either. Now, let me say something while I have this platform. I did say last week that the Browns would go 10-7. Let me go ahead and put an asterisk by it. The only reason I'm gonna put this asterisk by it is because of the Kenny Pickett trade. If Joe Flacco can last the season, I can see 10-7. If Dylan Gabriel or even Shador is behind center, we're not winning 10 games. That's just not going to happen. I'm very realistic about it. You know what I mean? As much as I know everybody loves Shador, but if you put him behind center against the Ravens, if you put him behind center against the Raiders, I don't see the Browns winning 10 games. If Joe can stay healthy, I can see them winning 10 games.
I agree 100% with that, Rod. However, let's say if Joe, like I said, goes 8 or 9 games, Watson should be healthy at that time.
Yeah.
Throw his behind in there.
No,
Throw
I
him
remember
in
you
there.
saying that.
Throw him in there, and then we might have a fighting
I
chance.
get it.
But you're right.
I get
Gabriel and Shador aren't ready yet.
Yeah,
But if Watson is healthy, throw his tail in there.
And I said this last week when you said that. I said, if the Browns are winning, they don't mind, because they think the fan base is goofy anyway. And if they're winning, then they'll push Deshaun Watson to say, hey, look, guys, we can get to the Super Bowl because we got Deshaun Watson. Now, of course, the three of us is going to sit here and be like, man, whatever. But there are other Browns fans, they just want to win. Our fans want to win. And if it means putting Deshaun Watson back under center, they'll take it. Okay? They will take it.
T, I am intrigued about your thoughts on Deshaun Watson, because, I mean, I have seen enough of Deshaun Watson where if he came back and he was 100% healthy, I'm not sure that he is the best option. I mean, he hasn't shown it since he's been here. And I'll hit you with this as well. Look at Aaron Rodgers coming off his Achilles. You look at Kirk Cousins coming off his Achilles. Those two quarterbacks were arguably playing better than Deshaun Watson before they popped their Achilles. Now, you look at Deshaun Watson before he got hurt. I mean, there were actually fans cheering when he got hurt because he was playing so bad. Now he's coming back off that Achilles. I mean, do you think hypothetically, if Deshaun Watson got back under center for the Cleveland Browns, if Joe Flacco got hurt, that he would actually be productive under center for the Browns?
I would rather put him in there before Dylan and Shador. I would. Just based on his experience. He's the veteran. How would I put it? he's got nowhere to go but up. Okay. He's under the rock. He ain't rock
Yeah.
bottom. He's under the rock. So again, like I say, week 8 or 9, and if he's healthy, I'd throw him in there and hope for the best. Hope for the
And
best. I
imagine
would
if
before you throw those other 2
if
kids
the
in there.
Browns are winning. Imagine that the Browns are winning. They're gonna think about it because there's a couple reasons. Number one, he's an experienced quarterback. He'll be playing up under Kevin Stefanski's system because, like I said, remember last year that was Ken Dorsey's system. So he's going to be playing under Kevin Stefanski's system. Number two, they need to get good film on him just in case somebody is goofy enough to trade for him. So they got to throw him out there so that people would see that, okay, he's still mobile. So there is a possibility of that happening. Don't be surprised that sometimes during the season, I'm telling you, mark this, you will get some footage of Deshaun Watson practicing with the team. He'll be taking some snaps because the Shador camp will lose their minds, but it will happen. We will look on Channel 5 or whatever channel y'all watch or YouTube, whatever, and you will see, well, today Deshaun Watson took some snaps under center, and all hell is going to break loose in the city of Cleveland. It's going to happen. But if you have a quarterback like that on your roster, why would you not consider him? I get what everybody is saying. I'm not a Deshaun Watson fan, but they got 4 games to figure it out because he's on the PUP list, which I told y'all that's what they were going to do with him. They were going to put him on a physically unable to perform list, and that's where Deshaun Watson is. He's there for the first 4 games. Then they have to come back and reevaluate. If he's good to go, they can put him on a roster. If he's not, then they can put him back on a physically unable. And if they do it a second time, then he's done for the season. So if he comes off the PUP list and he's able to go, he's an option.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's just hope Joe Flacco can stay healthy and play all 17 games because I honestly think he gives us our best chance to have the most successful season that we could possibly have.
What's the word on our center? How's he doing? I think he was back in practice this week.
He's in
running around.
Yeah,
is he good?
He came back to practice, so he'll be good to go game 1.
That's good news. That's good news. So we're going to continue to watch, like the fellas have been saying, man, this is the best time of year. College football starting up. NFL football is starting up. This is 3 the Hard Way. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Only takes a second. Man, this podcast is growing by leaps and bounds. Leaps and
bounds, yes.
Leaps and bounds. And we really appreciate your support to help us keep this thing going. I got a mystery Cleveland Brown for the week, T and Hot Rod. You guys ready for this?
All right, let's go.
I'm ready.
All right, mystery Cleveland Brown for the week. People out there, don't help these guys out, man. Let these guys think on their own, see if they can get this right. Now the score is T won the first one, I believe. Hot Rod got him the second week. So
we're 1-1.
1-1 right now. Here we go with the first clue. This mystery Cleveland Brown was drafted in the NFL in late 1970s. He played his entire career with the Cleveland Browns. He was not known for scoring touchdowns. He was a part of the Browns team during both good and tough years. He started.
Cleo Miller?
Nope.
Jerry Shirk?
Nope. He started in over 100 games for the Cleveland Browns. It's a tough one, fellas. He played.
Mike Phipps?
Nope. He played in multiple playoff appearances with the Cleveland Browns.
I'm waiting for the ding-ding answer to come. It's coming.
Yeah. He was never flashy, but he was a cornerstone for the Cleveland Browns. His
Reggie
job.
Rucker?
Nope.
I was thinking that.
He was a late He was a late round draft pick.
Jeez. Hanford Dixon?
Ozzie
No,
Newsome.
not Hanford Dixon. He didn't come in the 70s.
No. His career lasted more than a decade.
Oh, jeez. Come on.
Tom Darden.
No. He played on the offensive line.
Doug Deacon.
Oh, it's a good guess. But no, that's a good guess.
Okay.
Mike Babb.
Oh, no. I got it. I think
His main responsibility was protecting the quarterback's blind side.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so Deacon was on one side. Who was on the other side? Joe DeLamielleure was a guard.
He protected for Brian Sipe and Bernie Kosar.
Not Cody Rison.
Cody Rison.
Oh.
Here it goes. Okay, Ron.
Hot Rod. Yeah, Cody Rison. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because
That's a blast from the past.
Wow.
Right
I had to think about
Cody
that
Rison,
one because
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, wow.
I knew Deacon was on one side, but I'm like, who was on the? Yeah. Because DeLamielleure was he was a guard. So
Cody Rison.
Cody Rison. Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Good
would
one,
have said
Rod. Good
Deacon
one.
as well, but
Yeah.
I knew the answer, but
Yeah.
that's what I would have guessed. So that was
Yeah.
that was a good guess. All right, man. Mystery Brown of the week was Cody Rison. We got a 2-1 lead for a Hot Rod getting himself off the mat once he
Coach.
had him down 1-0.
Yes.
1-0. All right, so now we one of our favorite areas of the show. Start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. I believe it was Hot Rod's week this week. Hot Rod, what do you got for us, man? We're
All right,
ready.
so here we go. We're gonna go outside of the sports box right now. We're gonna do a start one, bench one, cut one, erase one on R&B greats.
Woo,
Okay. R&B greats right now. So here we go. You have the great Marvin Gaye. The great Marvin Gaye. Then you have Barry White.
Maestro.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
The maestro, Barry White. All right. So we had Marvin Gaye, Barry White, and then Lionel Richie.
Love the first name.
From Tuskegee, Alabama. Lionel Richie.
And to end out, the great Luther Vandross.
Come on, Rod.
Wow. Luther. A house is not a home. Wow. Okay. Let me go first, L Train.
You got it, T.
Let me go. Okay. Wow. Kentucky's own, but he was adopted by the city of Washington, D.C. I'm going to go with Marvin Gaye. I'm going to start with Marvin Gaye.
Okay.
Marvin Gaye. That's right. From Kentucky, from D.C. by way of Kentucky. I'm going to bench the great Lionel Richie, who still looks good and still got a voice. From Tuskegee, Alabama, the Commodores. I'm going to cut Luther Vandross, the late, great Luther Vandross. I'm going to cut him. And unfortunately, this was one of my mom's favorites. She loves some Barry White and the Electric Light Orchestra. I'm going to erase Barry White. That was a tough one.
That is a tough one.
That's a tough one. Yep.
That is a tough one. But I'm going to start by agreeing with Mr. Alston and starting Marvin Gaye. I am going to bench Luther Vandross. I am going to cut Lionel Richie. And I'm going to erase Barry White.
Oh.
Tough.
Woo.
Gentlemen. I'm wow. So here is mine. I'm going to start Luther Vandross.
I knew you were going to say that.
Wow.
I'm going to bench Marvin Gaye. I'm going to cut Barry White, and I'm going to erase Lionel Richie. Now, let me say this.
Wow.
I meant to say this beforehand.
Lionel Richie at a
Now,
Commodores?
that's what I wanted to say. We're not I didn't want to grade Lionel Richie on his work with the Commodores. It is Lionel Richie as a singles artist.
He was great as a singles artist, though.
He's great.
But listen, let me tell y'all something. Luther.
What a feeling when you dancing on the ceiling.
A house is not a home. Come on, man.
Wow.
Marvin Gaye still has the sexiest national anthem that was ever sung.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Okay?
It is.
Because if you want to talk Marvin Gaye, I can say the song that he made with Tammy Terrell. That trumps everybody. Okay? Not just the Marvin Gaye sexual healing, but let's, so Luther.
Yeah.
Right.
And I could have flip-flopped because without Marvin Gaye, you don't have Luther. Okay?
Question for you, Rod. What was the group that Luther was with before he went solo? What was the name of the singing group?
I cannot remember. That's one that stumps me. Okay. So, but Barry White,
T's pulling that one out the vault.
Yeah, he pulled that out.
Change. Oh yeah.
But Barry,
I'm a little older than you fellas. I'm
gonna tell you now. I'm like, between Luther, Marvin Gaye, and Barry White is probably a reason why the three of us is even on this show, bruh.
Exactly.
Just so we know. So
there you go.
Yeah, that was a tough one because
Rod, that was a great one. Yeah, that was a great one.
Told you I was.
That was a good one, Rod. I like that.
That was a real good one. Wow.
I like that. All right, another good one by Hot Rod. Again, we're gonna pull some from the audience as well. We're gonna have T the next week. By the way, speaking of next week, we are going to be on at a different day next week. We got the NFL starting up, so obviously on Sundays is where we usually tape. We won't be doing that because we're going to be into those NFL football games.
Right.
So we will not have the luxury to being able to tape on Sundays, but we are going to move our taping to Mondays. So we are possibly going to be releasing our show either that Monday night or early that Tuesday morning. So I just want 3 the Hard Way Nation to be prepared for that you will not be seeing us on Sunday. So we had to, adapt to some times with the NFL season starting up. But we're still going to be the same old show.
Time.
Yeah. It's a different time. We ain't going nowhere. All right, fellas, parting shots for the week. Lots of things going on this week. What are your parting shots?
I was going to go with Venus Williams, but I'm going to change up a little bit. Go with Lee Corso. Lee Corso said goodbye yesterday, man. He put on the mask for the 431st time yesterday, man. I tell you, how would I put it? That show, as a kid growing up, Saturdays while we were cleaning the house, doing chores, meant Soul Train was on, okay? Soul Train was on the TV in the background as a kid. As a young adult and then getting to an older adult on Saturdays in the background was College Game Day. I tell you, I look forward to it on Saturdays. I can even remember with the advancement of technology and us getting cable out to sea, we used to watch that out to sea on the ships, okay? Because we had the ability to watch cable TV out to sea at the same time when we were able to insert our ATM card in the middle of the ocean and get money from our banks back home. So technology sped up. And I remember College Game Day. At the same time, I was able to get money out of the ATM in the middle of the Pacific Ocean or wherever we were. So there you go. But yeah, College Game Day with Lee Corso going away. Yesterday, he was 6-0 too with his picks. And then with the teams that he used to coach, they also won. So he was 6-0. But I'm really going to miss him being on that show. And I love that. I look forward to that every Saturday. College Game Day.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, well, this is an uncanny shout out. I'm going to shout out the Cleveland Guardians. They actually swept the Seattle Mariners this weekend. They still have a fighting chance of getting into the playoffs. They didn't trade him. They got rid of Carlos Santana. They're scuffling. They're fighting. But they're gonna be in the mix, and they swept the Mariners this weekend. So I'm gonna send my shout out. As much as we talk trash on them too, the Guardians are still fighting to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, my parting shot. This is really close to home to me. My parting shot is the metro area of Minneapolis. Minneapolis has had just a tough go of it as of late. The last few months with political shootings that we had in Brooklyn Park, and now the shootings of the church / elementary
Yeah.
school in Richfield. And so this will never be a political show, but if there's ever a case or accumulation of cases where there are these random mass shooters, just some form of gun control, man, just needs to happen. It's just becoming evident now. So my shout out goes to the city of Minneapolis just for their healing, the community that's just coming together. Prayers and thoughts to all the families that were affected by both of the shootings that have happened over the last couple of months in Minnesota, man. It's just a tragic thing, and sometimes it is easy to forget when you're sitting home on your recliner, when things are
Yeah.
going well
Yeah.
in your inner circle, to kind of, look out and see what other people may be experiencing. And it's just another unfortunate incident
Yeah.
in Minnesota.
Very
So
unfortunate.
yeah, that is my parting shot. Well, fellas, another great show, man. 3 the Hard Way. Hit that like and subscribe button. Again, new day and time Mondays. We will be shooting the show, so look forward to that. All
Tell
the
a friend
fans out
about
there,
us too.
yeah, yep. 3 the Hard Way Nation out there, TikTok Nation.
TikTok.
Thanks for helping our channel to grow. We enjoy doing this. We enjoy
do.
engaging with the fans, talking not only Cleveland sports, which is where our passion lies, but talking everything about sports. So we're gonna keep bringing it to you like we bring it to you, with all the passion that we have. Fellas, thanks again for another great show.
Yes, sir.
All right. Y'all have a blessed week, good week, be safe. Rod, stay cool out there, and yeah. Enjoy tomorrow off Labor Day, because Tuesday will be here before you know it.
Absolutely.
Like my grandfather used to
Absolutely.
say, Tuesday is hat grabbing day. Back to work. Hat grabbing day.
Everybody have a blessed holiday.
And listen, man, Labor Day, I just remember on these days, between the two houses, the Jones and the Austins, you would be smelling nothing but barbecue
Barbecue. That's
on
it.
these
That's
weekends, man. So
your father would be up before the sun came up. Your father would be up before the sun came up. You can smell the grill. You can smell the grill. Mr. Jones be out there cooking. Yeah, Mr. Jones be out there cooking. Yeah.
Those are fun times. But this has been 3 the Hard Way. We'll make sure to see you when we see you. Peace.
All right. Y'all be blessed.